Ferris, a young man seeking a fresh start, moved into an old house on the edge of town. The house, with its peeling paint and dusty windows, cast a gloomy, mysterious aura. He tried to ignore the unsettling feeling, focusing on his new life. But every night, the rhythmic tap-tap-tap of footsteps echoed from the upper floor. At first, Ferris dismissed it as the creaks and groans of an aging house, but the sounds persisted, growing more insistent, stirring a mixture of curiosity and fear within him. His skepticism began to waver. Night after night, the footsteps continued, each tap a tiny hammer blow against his resolve. He tried to rationalize it, blaming the wind, settling animals, anything but the supernatural. But the sounds were too regular, too deliberate. The suspense gnawed at him, feeding his unease. One night, the fear finally overwhelmed his skepticism. He had to know. Armed with a flickering flashlight, Ferris crept up the creaking staircase. The air grew colder, heavier, the silence between the footsteps seeming to press down on him. He reached the upper floor, his heart pounding against his ribs. The source of the sound seemed to emanate from a locked room at the end of the hallway. His hand trembled as he found an old key hidden beneath a loose floorboard. With a click, the door swung inward, revealing a dusty, empty room, except for a large, ornate mirror dominating one wall. Ferris stared into the mirror, the flashlight beam catching the dust motes dancing in the gloom. And then he saw her. Behind him, reflected in the glass, stood a woman in a flowing white gown. Her face was obscured by shadows, but a chilling sense of familiarity washed over him. He slowly turned around, but the room remained empty. The woman was only in the mirror. Panic seized him. He wasn't alone. Night after night, the woman in white appeared in the mirror. Her presence grew stronger, her image clearer. She seemed to beckon him, her silent invitation laced with an unsettling familiarity. Ferris's fear morphed into a terrifying realization during one particularly vivid reflection. He saw not just a ghost, but a spectral version of himself. The woman in white was him, or rather, a trapped part of him, a spirit tethered to the house. He understood then. This wasn't a haunting, it was a possession waiting to happen. The ghost, his ghost, wanted his place in the world, his life. Ferris's new beginning was threatened, not by a malevolent spirit, but by a reflection of his own unresolved past, a part of himself he had to confront and reconcile before it completely consumed him.